Why did they all look at her like she was already guilty? The mud-splattered Jeep hadn't even stopped when rough hands yanked Veronica Chase from the backseat. Zip ties bit into her wrists. A gash above her eyebrow dripped blood into her eye, and the torn fabric of her faded Marines t-shirt fluttered in the humid North Carolina wind. She blinked through the sting, trying to orient herself as soldiers swarmed around her like she was a threat or a spectacle. She could feel hundreds of eyes on her, phones recording, whispered judgments ricocheting through the crowd. To them, she was just another imposter trying to wear honor she didn't earn. Colonel Russell's voice cracked like a whip over the tense air. "Gentlemen, feast your eyes on today's entertainment. Another wannabe trying to play soldier." He enjoyed this. It showed in the smirk carved across his face, the way he made sure the crowd saw her shame. His uniform spotless, hair perfect, his rank polished like a trophy. Veronica didn't bother protesting. Not yet. She kept her breathing controlled, calm in chaos, no sudden movements, every muscle quiet, coiled, waiting. Her eyes scanned the checkpoint, exits, barricades, firing lanes, the number of armed personnel. She cataloged everything like instinct, like survival, like training. Sergeant Tracy Robinson gripped her arm as if Veronica might vanish. She was young, 29, sharp eyes, the kind of soldier who still believed rules protected people. The hesitation in her touch that was new. Most MPs handled prisoners like dead weight, but Robinson's fingers lingered just long enough to feel something beneath the surface. Something dangerous. "I'm not resisting," Veronica said softly. Her voice rasped, sand dry. "I'm complying with all lawful orders." That phrasing, lawful orders, made Lieutenant Wilson turn. Admirer of authority but a stranger to earned respect. His posture crisp, ambitions louder than his competence. "Lady," he sneered, circling her like prey. "You lost the right to quote regulations when you tried to enter a restricted installation using fraudulent identification." He snatched a tablet and waved it with theatrical disbelief. "You claim to be Major Sarah Winters, Delta Force," he scoffed. "Delta doesn't have women." A ripple of mockery swept the crowd. Inside her chest, something cold tightened. It wasn't anger. Anger would have shown too much truth. It was disappointment, not in them but in the world that taught them what a warrior should look like. Colonel Russo stepped closer, towering, delighting in her humiliation. "You picked the wrong fantasy, sweetheart. Navy SEALs, Rangers, those are believable enough for idiots. But Delta," he chuckled, waiting for the crowd to laugh with him. There was a time she would have laughed too, before Syria, before the night the darkness swallowed her whole. Her silence irritated him. He wanted fear or excuses, something he could crush. But Veronica simply stared past him, eyes focused on the administrative building beyond. She wasn't here for validation. She was here to save lives. Chief Warrant Officer Wayne Stitch Alexander watched her from the edge, caution painted across his weathered features. 30 years in the medical corps gave him instincts. He didn't see a pretender. He saw a soldier trying not to bleed out. Lieutenant Wilson rummaged through her black backpack. "Let's see what we've got in here. Maybe a Halloween costume, ooh, ID card." He held it up triumphantly. "Dependent ID says she's spouse to one Master Sergeant Jeremy Ford, Delta Force." The crowd's cruelty softened into curiosity. A dependent was not stolen valor, but it wasn't permission to breach a base either. Russell grabbed the card, jaw tightening. "Expired over a year ago." He shoved it toward her. "So what's your real game?" She swallowed pain, forcing out the truth. "There's a woman in danger. Sarah Blackburn. I need to reach someone high-level before it's too late." Russell rolled his eyes. "Let me guess, conspiracy theories next." But Stitch heard a tremor in her voice. Not fear, urgency. Veronica wasn't inventing a story. She was withholding one. Wilson returned to mocking theatrics. "Let's process this fraud through MP intake and call the FBI. Maybe they can figure out if she's crazy or just a liar. Sir, Robinson tried, but Russo cut her off. No discussion. This is a security threat. The only threat here is time, Veronica whispered mostly to herself. Then her leg buckled. Robinson caught her and the torn shirt shifted enough for Stitch to see the scars. Not tattoos, not wannabe patches, surgical scars. Bullet extractions. Burned tissue. The kind of body that had been stitched together too many times to count. And a small medical tattoo. O+ blood type, penicillin allergy, special operations format. Stitch's heart lurched. That wasn't cosplay. He stepped forward quickly. Colonel, she needs medical evaluation now. Head trauma, possible internal injuries. Russo rolled his eyes, but liability mattered more to him than a human life. Fine, 5 minutes, then she's processed. Stitch leaned close as he cleaned her wound. Where were you hurt? Her eyes met his, steel beneath ice. 8 hours ago. That was wrong. No civilian survived combat wounds like these without treatment. Before Stitch could ask more, a scream echoed from the gate. A black Suburban had skidded to a stop. A woman burst out, desperate, terrified. I need to speak to someone in charge. They said Veronica Chase could protect me. Veronica's head snapped up. Fear, raw and honest, flashed in her eyes for the first time. Sarah Blackburn. Then engines roaring. 2 dark SUVs tore into the checkpoint. Men emerged, not in uniform. Civilian clothes, military bearing. Weapon grips familiar, minimal movement, not amateurs. A kill team. They raised weapons. Veronica moved before thought, before permission. Zip ties snapped. She swept Wilson's legs, stole his pistol, and rolled behind cover in one impossibly fluid motion. Nobody move, she shouted, but she wasn't aiming at soldiers. She aimed at the contractors. Sergeant Robinson, she barked, pure command in her voice. Those men are here to kill that woman. Call backup, now. Robinson froze, training versus instinct warring in her expression. Russell screamed, stand down, she's the threat. A gunshot cracked, not Veronica's. A bullet ricocheted off concrete near Sarah's feet. Chaos detonated. Crowd scattering, screams, orders lost in panic. Veronica fired 3 precise rounds, forcing the attackers into cover, her stance perfect despite her limp. She dragged Sarah behind a barrier, shielding her with her own body. Still think I'm the enemy, Colonel, she yelled. Russo stood exposed in the open, starring like a man meeting reality for the first time. Robinson grabbed him and pulled him into safety. Veronica counted shots, calculated angles, every breath was strategy. Wilson, she called, spare magazine. He hesitated, fear twisting his face. They'll kill everyone here, she warned, including you. He slid her the mag. 3 minutes and 17 seconds. That's how long it took her to dismantle them, non-lethal. Knees, shoulders, any place that would prevent them from raising arms again. Efficient, controlled. Deadly only when necessary. When the rapid response team stormed in, the battle was already won. Veronica stood, blood dripping from her shoulder, breathing steady, weapon lowered. Sergeant, she gasped to Robinson, get Sarah into protective custody. Titan defense, sold defective armor, soldiers died, they'll kill her to keep it buried. Robinson didn't question now. Trust born in combat wasn't fragile, it was truth. General Raymond Whitfield arrived, a storm in command boots. His face, hardened by war, flickered with disbelief. My God, he whispered, stepping toward her. Chase, Veronica Chase. She tried to stand straighter. General, didn't expect to see you. You're supposed to be dead, he breathed. Your entire unit KIA in Syria. Reports exaggerated, she muttered, knees giving out. He caught her, held her up like a fallen flag. This woman, he roared at Russo, is Sergeant Major Veronica Chase, Nightstalker, one of Delta's best, and you just publicly compromised a classified operator." Russo's face drained white. His world built on appearances crumbled. Phones that once recorded a humiliation now held proof of greatness misunderstood. Served him right. As medics rushed in, Veronica's voice slipped in and out of consciousness. "Zara, evidence. Soldiers murdered, armor failed." "Save your strength," Whitfield ordered. "General," she rasped, grabbing his sleeve. "My daughter, she thinks I'm dead if I don't." "You're going to survive," he commanded. "That's an order." But her eyes fluttered closed. Even the strongest ghosts sometimes need rest. Robinson stood guard over Zara, clutching the surviving evidence, a briefcase full of the truth someone had killed to bury. Fear trembled in her fingers, but resolve kept her spine straight. Stitch stared at the blood pooling across concrete, proof that courage wasn't always loud. And the world finally saw the truth about the woman they mocked. She wasn't pretending to be special forces. She was special forces. A hero hidden by orders, a soldier erased by politics, a ghost forced back into the light. Because sometimes you don't choose the mission. The mission chooses you. How do you rebuild a life that the world already buried? Veronica blinked against the blur of lights above her, the antiseptic smell of the base clinic pressing against her senses. Heart monitor beeps, a soft hum of an IV pump. Too clean, too safe, too bright. This wasn't where she belonged. She forced her gaze into focus, scanning the room before memory hit like a round through Kevlar. Zara, the checkpoint, the gunfire, the humiliation, the truth exposed, and the one thing she feared most. Her daughter's face flashed in her mind like a pulse of light. Zara. A whisper. A prayer. A fear she carried like shrapnel. She tried pushing herself upright. Pain sliced through her torso, sharp enough to draw a strangled gasp. A medic rushed over. "Ma'am, easy. You've lost a lot of blood." "Don't call me ma'am," she breathed. "Just Chase." His brow creased, respect flickered, and silence returned. General Whitfield entered quietly, closing the door behind him. He looked older than she remembered. Deeper lines around the eyes. Too many funerals. Too many soldiers buried under lies. "You should have stayed dead," he said gently. "Sir," she exhaled, "with all due respect, the dead don't get second chances." He sat, boots heavy on the linoleum. "We held your memorial, folded a flag for your daughter, gave your service the honors you earned, and now you show up in handcuffs at a checkpoint. Why come here without authorization?" She stared at her bandaged wrist, the bruises blooming beneath gauze. There wasn't time. Titan Defense has been eliminating every whistleblower tied to the armor scandal. Zara was next. They've already killed 4 soldiers and 2 contractors to bury the failure. Whitfield's jaw clenched. "And your team?" Her breathing stuttered. "They didn't make it." Flash. Sandstorm choking the sky. Blood in the sand. Screams swallowed by explosions. Her unit, her brothers and sisters, falling one by one. She reached them, she always reached them. But not that night. Terakasor Nahai, she reminded herself silently. It wasn't your fault. It was the lie she never truly believed. Whitfield studied her, seeing the fracture lines beneath her armor. "Veronica, what happened in Syria, really?" She closed her eyes. "There was a mole inside Titan, someone who leaked our position. We walked into an ambush, and when the armor failed, it failed right where soldiers trust it most, over the heart." She tapped her sternum. "No stopping power, no second chance, one shot and gone." Whitfield turned away, swallowing the gravity. "Intel reported the site was bombed to hell. We assumed everyone." "I crawled out," she interrupted. "A local family hid me. I spent months gathering evidence while Titan labeled the whole mission a classified training accident. Whitfield's tone darkened. You're telling me someone in this country sold out American operators to increase a contract bid. Boost profits by cutting protection, she nodded. They said the armor met standard on paper, but in the field it was death wrapped in camouflage. Silence sat heavy between them. Finally he stood. We'll brief Washington, you'll get your command back. You'll. No, her voice cut like a blade. He stared, no. I'm not the same soldier you buried, and this fight isn't over. They'll come again, for Zara, for me, for anyone who knows. Veronica swung her legs off the bed, ignoring the burn shooting through her ribs. Whitfield stepped forward. Chase. Sir, she said, eyes fierce. I didn't survive all that to hide behind paperwork. The general exhaled through clenched teeth. I understand the need for payback, but this can't be personal. Every heartbeat screamed that it already was. She forced a bitter smile. It's not revenge, sir, it's accountability. He saw the truth and the danger in her determination. At least let us move Zara to a secure location. Zara doesn't need a location, Veronica replied. She needs witnesses. The door opened. Sergeant Robinson peeked inside, uncertainty flickering across her face. She clutched a tablet and a sealed folder, evidence. Robinson cleared her throat. General, sir. The detainees identified themselves as Titan defense contractors. They claim they were securing stolen corporate property. Property, Veronica snapped. That's what lives are to them. Robinson stepped closer, voice lower. Ma'am Chase, I believe you. The words caught Veronica off guard. Trust wasn't something she expected anymore. Robinson's jaw tightened. I've seen too many flag-draped coffins. If someone made cheap armor to save money, cue to Kawasta, they can't get away with it. Veronica's chest tightened. That familiar ache. The warrior who still wanted to protect, always others before herself. General Whitfield nodded to Robinson. Escort Chase to the secure briefing room. We're going to build a case that Washington cannot ignore. He turned back to Veronica. And Chase, I'll contact your family when this is over. They deserve the truth. Her blood ran cold. My daughter thinks I died a hero. She looked away. I'd rather she remember me brave than see me like this. Whitfield didn't push. Some scars weren't his to open. Veronica stood, fighting through pain as Robinson supported her. They moved through winding corridors, security escorts keeping a perimeter. Every soldier they passed stared at her like a ghost. A legend who wasn't supposed to breathe anymore. Robinson finally spoke. What was your unit's call sign? Veronica hesitated. A memory flared, echoes of laughter, midnight planning, whispered promises not to die. Her throat tightened. Phantom Team, she whispered. We were the ones nobody ever saw coming. Robinson tucked that away like a secret worth protecting. As they entered the briefing room, screens flickered to life, displaying ballistic data, armor test failures, internal Titan emails, smoking guns waiting to be fired. Sarah Blackburn stood inside, guarded by MPs. Her hands shook as she saw Veronica. You came back for me. Veronica nodded. We don't leave people behind. Sarah's eyes brimmed with fear and relief all at once. They said they can get to anyone, that the ones who died they blamed themselves, like they weren't strong enough. Veronica stepped close, steady and firm. Listen to me. Those soldiers were warriors. They weren't killed by weakness. They were killed by greed. Sarah's breath shuddered like a brittle thread. Veronica rested a hand on her arm. You survived for a reason. Don't let them silence you. Robinson watched the moment, seeing the leader beneath the scars. General Whitfield entered with a panel of intelligence officers. The room snapped to attention. Chase, he said, we're giving you temporary operational authority. Your mission, help us stop Titan before more blood spills. Veronica nodded once. How long do we have? Whitfield didn't sugarcoat. Hours, maybe less. Before she could respond, the lights flickered. Then black. Emergency alarms blared. Red strobes washed the room in panic. A voice over the PA crackled. Security breach at Hangar 3. Armed hostiles on base. Veronica's pulse sharpened. The enemy had moved faster than expected. Sarah gasped. They're here, are they? Veronica reached for the sidearm Robinson handed her earlier, magazine checked, safety off. Her stance shifted. Predator mode. General, she said through the sirens, clear a path to the motor pool. Whitfield stared. What are you planning? To move Sarah off this base and disappear before Titan levels the playing field. Robinson stepped up. I'm going with her. Yes, Veronica agreed, but not as my guard. Robinson blinked. Then as what? As my teammate. Robinson swallowed hard, then nodded. General Whitfield grabbed Veronica's shoulder. That Nightstalker reputation of yours, don't make me regret trusting it. Her eyes flared with purpose. You won't. Doors unlocked with a clang. Veronica guided Sarah close, shielding her body with her own. Robinson covered the rear. Smoke seeped into the hallway, fire suppression systems coughing alarms. Boots thundered from behind, more guards rushing to secure breaches. Something exploded near Hangar 3. A shockwave rattled the hall. Sarah panicked, breath rapid. Veronica leaned in, voice calm like a lullaby for war. Sans lo, Baz sans lo, you stay alive, that's the mission. Sarah clung to that instruction like a life raft. The trio reached a side exit. Wind slapped their faces, night sky, floodlights, shouting soldiers, chaos swirling like a battlefield rebooted. Veronica scanned the perimeter, instincts screaming data. 3 shooters by the fuel depot, 2 on the roofline. She pointed, sniper over the comms tower, right eye dominant. Robinson stared in awe. How the hell? Focus, Veronica cut in. Shots cracked, metal sparked around them. Robinson returned fire, forced the attackers to duck. Veronica vaulted into the driver's seat of a Humvee, engine roaring alive. Get in. Sarah scrambled into the back. Robinson leapt in last, slamming the door as rounds punched into the armored hull. Where are we going? Robinson yelled. Veronica pinned the transmit button on the radio. General, we're exfiling with the witness. Do not track us. Assume comms compromised. Whitfield's voice crackled. Chase. She cut the channel. Foot down, tires screaming. They blew past the outer gate seconds before a security lockdown sealed it shut. The night swallowed them. Sarah trembled, voice barely audible. Will we survive this? Veronica kept her eyes forward, expression unbreakable. One mission at a time. Robinson glanced back at the shrinking base. You think Titan expected a fight like this? Veronica shook her head. No, they expected silence. The road stretched black and uncertain, danger hiding behind every passing shadow. And as the stars blurred above them, Veronica whispered to the darkness. Ya Allah himat du. Give me strength. She wasn't running away. She was taking the battlefield with her. Because heroes don't always wear uniforms. Sometimes, they escape their own graves to finish what they started. What if the deadliest hunters weren't the ones chasing you, but the ones who knew exactly where you would run? The road ahead cut through endless pine forest, the night swallowing everything outside the Humvee's headlights. Veronica's hands gripped the wheel like the vehicle could sense fear, but fear wasn't the enemy tonight. Time was. Sarah huddled low in the back seat, hugging a backpack filled with files, a truth so dangerous that men were dying to bury it. Robinson sat shotgun, eyes scanning the side mirrors, rifle braced in her lap. How long until backup hunts us too? Robinson asked, voice tight. Veronica took a breath that tasted like fire and regret. They won't come for us, not officially. Whitfield knows Titan has eyes in the system. He's buying time. Robinson stared at her. Buy us enough. No, Veronica answered without hesitation, but enough to make the first move. Silence hooked its claws into them. Zara stared at Veronica's reflection in the rearview mirror, bloodied, exhausted, dangerous. You really died once, she whispered. Veronica didn't flinch. Yes. And you came back to protect me. Veronica's jaw tightened. No one dies alone on my watch, not anymore. Robinson glanced over. What happened in that ambush chase? Veronica didn't answer. The truth lived inside her like a wildfire she kept locked behind steel. But her mind betrayed her. Memory struck without mercy. Night vision glowing. Footsteps in sand. Her team whispering jokes to hide their nerves. Then, death falling from the sky. Chase, Robinson shouted. Veronica snapped back. The road ahead split. She veered right, instinct, not logic. I know a safe house, she said, voice steady again. No electronics, no surveillance. Only ghosts know that place exists. Robinson arched a brow. Ghosts. A faint smile. Nightstalkers is more than a name. It's a promise to vanish when needed. The forest grew darker, trees thicker, the world closing in. Zara hugged her knees. Why didn't you tell the world the truth earlier, about the armor? Veronica exhaled slowly. Because whistleblowers bury themselves before the enemy does. I had to collect proof first. Her eyes hardened. And I needed to know who betrayed us. Robinson silently absorbed that. A betrayal from inside hurt sharper than any bullet. Minutes later, Veronica killed the headlights, rolling the Humvee into shadow beneath towering pines. She shut the engine off. A silence so deep it rang in their bones. Robinson whispered, "Why stop?" Veronica raised a finger, "Listen." Far behind them. Engines. Multiple. No sirens. No headlights. Hunters who could see in the dark. They found us, she murmured. Zara's voice trembled. How? There weren't any trackers. Sophisticated teams don't track the vehicle, Veronica said quietly. They track the driver. Her pulse quickened, but she controlled her breathing. We move on foot now. Robinson slung her rifle. Veronica grabbed a suppressed pistol and a small medical pouch. Zara hesitated, but Veronica's hand steadied her shoulder. Stay close, step where I step. Sans low will make it out. They plunged into the forest. Pine branches clawed at their clothes, but the night welcomed them like kin. Behind them, engines fell silent. Robinson whispered, "They stopped." "That's what worries me," Veronica muttered. Predators always went quiet before they struck. They moved deeper. The ground sloped downhill toward a narrow river, its moonlit surface a silver wound slicing through the trees. Veronica knelt, examining the bank. Cross here. Water masks tracks and thermal signature. Zara trembled as she stepped into the icy current. Veronica wrapped an arm around her to guide her. Robinson followed, but halfway through, Zara slipped on a stone, gasping. Veronica caught her. "Got you, just breathe." Zara clung to her. "Why are they doing this? Why kill their own soldiers?" Veronica stared into the dark water. Every reflection looked like a ghost. Because dead men don't file reports. When they reached the opposite bank, something sharp sliced the silence. A red laser dot crawled across Robinson's chest. Down, Veronica yanked both women flat to the mud. A suppressed round hissed through air, then another. Robinson whispered, "Counter snipers." "3," Veronica replied instantly. "How can you tell?" "Their spacing, their angles." Robinson swallowed hard. "You're insane." "No," Veronica corrected. "I'm trained." She scanned the ridge until she spotted what she needed, an outcropping of rocks, partially obscured high ground. She turned to Robinson. Cover fire, 60 seconds, move them to that ridge, I'll flank. Robinson blinked. You're going alone. Veronica squeezed her shoulder. You're good, Sergeant, trust yourself. And if you don't come back, Robinson asked. Veronica gave a ghost of a smile. I already did once. Before they could argue, she slipped into the dark, silent as a shadow born. Robinson gritted her teeth and fired bursts into the night, forcing the snipers to shift. Zara crawled, sobbing through adrenaline as Robinson shoved her forward. Roots scraped knees, rocks tore palms, but fear made humans faster than they believed possible. The ridge offered cover barely. Then an explosion ripped the forest floor behind them. Dirt and flames shot skyward. Zara screamed. Robinson shielded her with her body. IEDs, how? Robinson's question died as she saw figures advancing with NVGs, night vision goggles glowing an eerie green. Well-trained, well-funded, well-informed. Robinson fired, one went down. The others kept coming. Sweat burned her eyes. Every round she fired felt like the last one she'd ever take. Suddenly silence. Zara whispered, "Are they gone?" A faint laugh rolled across the forest, sinister and confident. "No," Veronica said behind them. They nearly jumped out of their skin. Zara grabbed her arm, shaking. "You where?" Veronica didn't answer. She just tossed a confiscated radio to Robinson. "I found their comms." She was breathing hard, chest heaving, blood smearing her shirt. "And their orders." Robinson braced for the worst. "What do they say?" Veronica locked eyes with her. "They're not trying to kill us." Zara blinked. "What?" "They're trying to capture me." Robinson frowned. "Why you?" Veronica's voice dropped like a stone into deep water. "Because I wasn't supposed to survive." The implication suffocated the night. Titan Defense didn't just want to bury mistakes. They wanted to erase a witness. A living contradiction. Zara clutched her bag. "What now?" "We keep moving," Veronica said, "and we disappear." Robinson nodded. "Safe house still far?" 9 kilometers east, Veronica replied. No hesitation. "That's a long walk with an army behind us," Robinson muttered. Veronica adjusted her grip on her weapon. "Then we walk fast." They pressed deeper into the wilderness, following Veronica's internal compass. Each step, each breath, each heartbeat was a battle. Hours felt like minutes. Minutes felt like lifetimes. Veronica's right side throbbed, bullet or shrapnel embedded near her ribs, but she pushed pain down into the cage where everything else lived. Zara's voice broke through her trance. "You could have left me, why not?" Veronica didn't look back. "Because someone once saved me on a night like this, and I never got to thank them." She paused. "Protecting you, maybe that's how I repay the debt." The forest finally thinned and a small cabin emerged, wooden, dark, abandoned to nature's mercy. Robinson stared. "This is the safe house." "No power, no signals. That's what makes it safe," Veronica said. They rushed inside. Veronica barricaded the door with old furniture while Robinson checked windows. Zara sat on the floor, shaking uncontrollably. "I can't keep doing this. I can't." Veronica knelt, gripping her shoulders firmly. "Listen to me. The easiest thing in this world is giving up when the world gives you every reason to. The hardest thing," she brushed hair from Zara's eyes, "is staying alive for the people who need truth more than comfort." Zara swallowed, tears slowed, her breathing steadied. Robinson whispered, "They'll find us eventually." "Yes," Veronica agreed, "but not before I finish what I started." Robinson looked at her hands, trembling. "I wasn't trained for a night like this." Veronica smiled, soft, human, tired. "No one is. We just survive it anyway. Her gaze shifted to the window, toward shadows where enemies could already be gathering. She pulled out a battered photo from her pocket, Zara. Her daughter's smile burned like sunrise. Just a little longer, she whispered to the picture. Ammy's coming home. She kissed the photograph, then loaded her weapon. A storm was building. And Veronica Chase, the ghost who refused to die, was ready to haunt anyone who dared come close. Because when a soldier loses everything, she becomes something fear can't measure. Unbreakable. What if the person you feared the least was the one who ruined you the most? The cabin walls creaked like old bones, wind howling through cracks that felt too thin for comfort. Veronica sat by the window, rifle across her lap, watching shadows stretch across the trees. The world outside seemed still, but stillness was a predator's best disguise. Robinson checked the perimeter again. No movement, it's quiet. Veronica didn't relax. Quiet is how killers breathe. Zara sat on the floor with a blanket around her shoulders, exhaustion turning her eyelids heavy. She tried to stay awake, but trauma weighed her down. You should sleep, Veronica murmured. Zara shook her head. If I close my eyes, I'll see them. Veronica understood too well. Her own nightmares weren't made of fantasy, they were stitched from memory. Robinson crouched near her. Where's your daughter? Can't Whitfield contact her? Veronica's grip tightened on the rifle. Zara's staying with her aunt. She's safe. She believes I died exactly as the army told her, a hero. Her throat tightened painfully. I can't let her see me hunted like an animal. Robinson frowned. Wouldn't she want to know you're alive? Veronica exhaled slowly, eyes distant. When families get a folded flag, they start rebuilding. If you show up again, alive, they have to break all over. A tear threatened, she crushed it back. She's finally healing. I'm not ready to make her bleed again. A sad silence settled over them until a faint buzz cut through the air. Robinson froze, radio interference. Veronica tapped her earpiece. No connection. She scanned the single light bulb swinging overhead. Then she spotted it. A blinking red dot tucked behind a beam. Down, she hissed. They dropped as the light flickered, shortwave transmitter. Someone had already tagged this safe house. Veronica ripped the device free and smashed it beneath her boot. Pack everything, we move. Robinson swallowed. We just got here. They're closer than we thought. Zara trembled harder. But where? They'll keep following us. A slow clap echoed from outside. 3 women stiffened. A silhouette stood just beyond the window, illuminated by moonlight. A tall figure in tactical gear, calm, confident. The voice slid in like a serpent, smooth, familiar. I always knew you were too stubborn to die, V. Veronica's blood turned to ice. Jeremy. Zara gasped, your husband. Robinson's eyes widened. Master Sergeant Jeremy Ford, the Delta spouse on your ID. Veronica's breathing stuttered before her discipline snapped back tight. She stepped toward the door, fury simmering under every heartbeat. The door swung inward before she touched it. Jeremy Ford entered casually like he was stepping into his own home, beard neatly trimmed, eyes sharp as razors, his sidearm holstered, hands raised in mock peace. Easy, he said. If I wanted you dead, I'd have brought a body bag instead of conversation. Veronica raised her weapon anyway. You sold us out. No, he corrected with a smirk. I saved us. Robinson positioned herself between Zara and the doorway, rifle trained. Veronica spat every word like shrapnel. You were on Titan's payroll. Jeremy shrugged. Do you know what operators cost? Do you know what armor contracts are worth? Billions, V money that changes legacies. You let soldiers die for profit. That's war. He stepped closer. Why should we die for scraps while politicians and defense CEOs buy islands? We served a system that threw you in a ditch and called it classified. Veronica's vision rippled with rage. The night of the ambush resurfaced, Jeremy reassuring her, telling jokes, holding her hand, then disappearing just before hell broke loose. She aimed her rifle at his heart. All this time you knew. I orchestrated it, he admitted without flinching. Your team was just collateral. Phantom Team was too loyal, too moral. You were going to expose Titan eventually. Sarah whimpered. Robinson's finger twitched on the trigger. Veronica felt her hands shake, not from fear, from betrayal so deep it scraped her ribs raw. You told me you loved me, she whispered. I do, he said, eyes glimmering dark. But power is the only love that lasts in this world. You should have stayed buried, sweetheart. You forced my hand by coming back. He slowly pulled a small device from his pocket, detonator switch, blinking red. Veronica's heart stopped. You wired the cabin, she growled. He smiled like victory tasted sweet, among other things. Veronica fired. Too late. He dove behind the doorway, wood splintering as her shot shattered the frame. Then his voice came from outside. You've got 90 seconds. Let's see if the Nightstalker still has 9 lives. His footsteps faded, leaving only the ticking of death behind. Robinson's panic spiked. What do we do? Veronica grabbed Sarah's wrist, yanking her up. We move out the rear. Sarah stumbled, but the woods. Better a bullet than vaporized, Veronica snapped. Move. They bolted out the back, as Veronica scanned under the eaves. There a tripwire. She sliced it carefully, and guided them past a buried charge that would have ended them instantly. Robinson looked at her with terrified awe. How many traps did he set? Enough to make sure I didn't survive twice, Veronica muttered. They sprinted down a ravine, as the countdown ticked in Veronica's mind. 10. Sarah gasped sobs with each step. Robinson fired blindly into the trees, buying milliseconds. 9. Jeremy's voice echoed from unseen speakers along the forest. You were always the smartest, V, but you never learned the game. 8. Veronica shoved Sarah forward. Don't listen, just run. 7. Kaboom! The cabin exploded into a sun of fire, shockwave tossing them into freezing mud. Ears ringing, smoke choking lungs. Robinson sputtered. Aim, suppress, kill. She couldn't form words. Veronica forced herself up, body screaming in protest. Above them, spotlights cut through trees, footsteps, orders in hushed radios. Surrounded. Jeremy's laughter crackled overhead. You can't outrun this, not this time. Sarah clutched Veronica's sleeve like a terrified child. What now? She cried. Robinson stared at Veronica like the universe itself waited for her answer. Veronica spat blood and rose fully, pain forgotten, fury focused. She wiped mud from her face, eyes blazing into the night. Now, she growled, locking a fresh mag into her rifle. We fight. Robinson coughed, adrenaline reigniting. 3 o'clock, I see 2 silhouettes moving fast. Take the left, Veronica ordered. Headshots only. Sarah shook violently. I can't. Veronica slipped a small pistol into Sarah's hands. You point and pull, nothing else. You die if you freeze. Jeremy's voice purred through the speakers, closer now. You think you can save her. You couldn't even save yourself. Veronica steadied her breath. He wants to break us, don't let him. Robinson nodded. I'm with you until the end. Veronica's voice softened, almost prayer-like. Baz Chalo, let's go. Gunfire erupted. Veronica pushed forward, precise, lethal, unstoppable. Robinson mirrored her movements, growing sharper by the second. Sarah stayed behind cover, shaking but determined to survive. Enemies fell, but their numbers kept growing. Veronica ducked behind a fallen log, breath ragged. Jeremy's men moved like shadows, disciplined, coordinated, merciless. Robinson grunted in pain, bullet grazing her arm. "You good?" Veronica called. "Just pissed," Robinson gasped. Suddenly, Zara screamed. Jeremy was behind her. He'd slipped through the chaos like the devil himself. His arm locked around Zara's neck, pistol jammed against her skull. "One shot," he goaded Veronica. "Test your aim, kill me and kill her." Veronica raised her weapon, hands steady despite the terror ripping her heart apart. "Let her go," she said. Jeremy pressed the barrel harder into Zara's trembling temple. "No, you let go, drop the rifle." Veronica's finger hovered on the trigger. Robinson hissed, "Chase, don't." Zara sobbed, "Please, please." Veronica's voice was barely above breath. "You betray everything we swore to protect. And you betrayed me the moment you believed duty mattered more than us," Jeremy spat. Zara gasped as he tightened his grip. Veronica's eyes narrowed, sharpening into a predator's stare. "You're right," she whispered. Jeremy blinked, thrown off. Veronica dropped her rifle. But not her fight. She lunged forward with the hidden combat knife from her boot. A flash of steel. A scream. Blood. Gunshot. Zara collapsed to the ground as Jeremy stumbled back, clutching his forearm, knife buried to the hilt. His gun fell. Zara scrambled away. Veronica grabbed her, pulling her behind cover just as more bullets cracked through the night. Jeremy howled like a wounded beast. "This isn't over, V." Veronica's reply was a whisper lost in the wind. "It never is." Robinson dragged them deeper into forest cover as Titan forces regrouped. They vanished into shadows once more. 3 hunted souls. Bound by truth. Driven by survival. Fueled by fury. Veronica wiped blood from her lip, breath like fire. She looked back not at the enemy, but at her own heart. The man she loved tried to murder her. The war wasn't just outside anymore. It lived inside her now. How do you keep your heart from collapsing when the person who tried to kill you once held it gently? Dawn crept into the forest like a hesitant confession, pale light dripping through branches. Veronica's boots crushed pine needles soaked in blood, hers, enemy, and everything in between. The adrenaline had burned off. Reality hadn't. Robinson pressed a bandage against her own wounded arm, hissing through pain. Zara hovered close to Veronica, haunted eyes swollen from too many tears that couldn't protect her from anything. Veronica moved like a ghost still clinging to flesh. Robinson finally broke the silence. "We need a plan." "We had one," Veronica muttered. "He blew it up." Zara shivered. "He was your husband, how could he?" "He stopped being my husband when he sold out my team," Veronica cut sharply. That truth dragged a tremor through her voice she couldn't hide. Robinson looked at her, really looked. "Chase, you can talk to me." "No," Veronica snapped instinctively, then softer, "not yet." They walked, no destination, only a way. Branches cracked underfoot. Crows screamed bad omens overhead. Zara stumbled often, sleep-deprived and terrified, but Veronica kept catching her like muscle memory. Protect, guide, lead. Robinson checked her GPS, a useless brick, jamming us. "Titan's world moves on encrypted whispers," Veronica replied. "They're isolating the battlefield." Zara hugged her arms. "Do we have any allies left?" Veronica stopped walking. For a moment, she just stood, chest rising and falling slowly, gathering pieces of herself. "There's someone," she finally said, "but reaching him means crossing open ground." Robinson nodded. "Better than waiting to die." Veronica's smirk was bitter but alive. "That's the spirit." They descended into a valley where fog curled like smoke around twisted roots. Veronica tested every step, scanning tracks, listening for broken patterns in birdsong. Titans, men hunted like mercenaries but thought like accountants and cost-benefit killers. They wouldn't give up $1 billion cover-up without drowning it in blood. Robinson cleared her throat. I need to ask you something. Make it quick. Did you see the ambush coming in Syria? Veronica's steps faltered. Flash. Jeremy's fingers tracing her jaw the night before the mission. His whisper, trust me. His kiss. His absence. The explosion. She shut her eyes briefly, burying the sting. Yes, she admitted, too late. Robinson slowed beside her. And it's killing you, the guilt. Veronica didn't answer. She didn't have to. Zara found a broken branch and used it as a walking stick, voice small. He said you valued duty over him. Is that true? Veronica stared straight ahead, eyes colder than dawn. He valued power more than anything, she said. If I followed that path, Zara would lose the mother she believes in. Zara almost whispered, you still believe in the uniform. Veronica's throat tightened. I believe in the people wearing it, or dying in it. They reached a clearing wide, open, dangerous. Veronica raised a fist, stop. Thermals will pick us up here. Robinson eyed the sky nervously. So what's the move? Veronica motioned toward scattered boulders. We crawl, every inch matters. And they did, mud smearing their faces, cold seeping into bones, dignity traded for survival. Halfway across, a whirring engine cut the silence. Drone. Robinson's eyes widened. They found us. Veronica yanked a small emergency IR flare from her belt and slammed her boot over Sarah's head, pressing them flat under stone cover. A laser grid swept the clearing, searching. Veronica's pulse stayed steady. Heart discipline wasn't born of calm, it was forged from chaos. The drone hovered, scanned, drifted past. Only when it vanished into the horizon did Veronica let herself breathe. That was Titans, she whispered. What do you mean? Robinson asked. That was a U.S. Army recon drone. Sarah's hope flickered. So Whitfield knows we're alive. Yes, Veronica confirmed, and now so does Titan. They rose and continued, faster now. By late afternoon, they reached a crumbling service road leading toward a rundown industrial complex, once a textile mill, now rust and ghosts. Veronica pointed. Inside that building is someone who owes me his life. Robinson frowned. Who? An intelligence fixer, codename Lantern. Sarah blinked. Lantern like a light. Veronica smirked humorlessly. He shines it where truth hides. They slipped inside through a side door, darkness swallowing them whole. Veronica tapped a rusted pipe twice, paused, tapped again. A coded knock. Silence. Then the click of a heavy deadbolt. A short, wiry man stepped out of the black. Bald, thick glasses, sardonic smile. Chase, he said, I told you to only return if you were either dead or desperate. She held his gaze. Why not both? He chuckled, then noticed the fear behind her bravado. What scorched earth did you walk through to get here? Titan defense, Veronica replied. They're hunting us. Lantern whistled low. Then this isn't a social visit, come. He guided them underground through a maze of corridors, until reaching a room glowing with multiple screens, encrypted feeds, classified reports, data dancing beneath his fingertips. Robinson stared. You run all this alone. Lantern shrugged. Applied paranoia, it pays well. He nodded toward Sarah. Who's the civilian? Sarah stepped forward nervously. I have proof Titan falsified ballistic performance reports. And executed whistleblowers, Veronica added. Lantern's amusement died instantly. That's treason-level profit, dangerous. Veronica laid a hand on the table. Can you get this to someone we trust? Lantern sighed. General Whitfield is already in a political cage match. He's trying to hold back wolves with paperwork. Veronica's jaw clenched. Then we bypass Washington. Lantern's fingers danced across keys. There will be blowback, a firestorm. Veronica's voice hardened. Let it burn. Robinson watched her, concern soft in her eyes. What about Jeremy? He knows your every tactic. Veronica froze. Lantern studied her expression. Ah, the wound beneath the armor. Veronica didn't rise to the bait. He's not my weakness. No, Lantern leaned closer. Then why does your hand shake every time his name leaves your mouth? Her fist tightened, knuckles whitening. That shake, Lantern said gently, is unresolved grief wearing the mask of rage. Veronica lowered her head. He was family. I didn't see the monster under the uniform. Lantern clicked his tongue. Love blinds sharper than night vision goggles. Veronica looked up, eyes molten steel. But truth makes better weapons. Lantern nodded, impressed. Then let's weaponize it. He slid a burner device toward her. This will transmit the evidence to every investigative journalist and oversight committee simultaneously. Impossible to stop. Zara reached for it, hand trembling. Robinson grabbed her wrist. Once we do this, Titan will unleash everything. Veronica looked at both women, then the device, then the door. They already have. Lantern prepped the coordinates. Veronica guided Zara's finger to the button, steadying her. Do it, she said. Zara pressed. Files sent, truth unleashed. Veronica exhaled, relief mixed with dread. Lantern smirked. Congratulations, you just declared war on the most ruthless men in the country. Veronica didn't smile. They fired the first shot. Before anyone could savor the moment, alarms flashed across Lantern's screens. Perimeter breach. Robinson's rifle snapped up. We're not ready. Veronica grabbed Zara. We never will be. Lantern pushed a duffel bag toward her. Take this, gear, coordinates for a safe extraction route, and chase. She paused at the door. He met her eye, sincerity rare in his voice. Don't die again. It confuses the paperwork. Veronica offered a ghost of a grin. I'll try to stay consistent. They sprinted through industrial ruins as shadows crawled in enemy boots closing fast. Zara gasped, where do we go now? Veronica stared toward the distant hills, where hope was just another battle to win. To the only place left, she said, home. Robinson blinked, your daughter. Veronica nodded, heart trembling like fragile armor. If Titan wants a war, I'm done fighting it from the shadows. She chambered a round steel in her voice. They want to bury me. She glared into the dark, daring it. They can try. What if the hardest mission wasn't surviving war, but coming home? The sun hadn't risen yet. Only a faint blue glow stretched across the horizon like a promise struggling to break through darkness. Veronica's boots crushed crisp snow as she approached a quiet suburban street lined with parked cars and sleeping lives. Every house held a family that believed their world was safe. She once believed that too. Robinson walked a step behind her, scanning every shadow. Zara hugged the duffel bag tight, filled with evidence and fear. But Veronica had eyes only for one house near the end of the street. A small white porch light glowed, like it had been waiting. Zara's curtains were drawn, a sticker of a cartoon astronaut on the window. She always loved space, wanted to fly higher than problems could reach. Chase, Robinson whispered, are you sure this is safe? Titan could. No one from Titan knows this address, Veronica said. I never put it on any form, ever. Zara exhaled shakily. Then, why does this feel like the most dangerous moment of all? Because losing someone twice hurts more than losing them once. Veronica's heart thudded hollow against her ribs. She took one breath, then another. But the world had changed how breathing worked, like oxygen required courage now. Her eyes burned. She hadn't felt scared in years, not in Syria, not while bleeding through gunfights. But this was fear. Real fear. Sarah's voice shook as she tried to offer comfort. She'll be happy you're alive. Veronica didn't turn. She rebuilt herself thinking I was gone, if I take that glue away. Robinson stepped closer, gentle but firm. She deserves the truth, and you deserve your daughter. Veronica nodded, even though her chest ached with doubt. She climbed the porch steps one slow, trembling step at a time. The wood creaked beneath her, loud in the still world. Too loud. She lifted her hand to knock. But she couldn't. Her fingers hovered inches from the door, frozen. "What if she hates me?" she whispered. Robinson answered softly. "Then you let her hate you, while you love her anyway." Veronica closed her eyes. She knocked. Silence swallowed the moment, then shifting inside, soft footsteps, a lock turning. The door cracked open. Zara stood there. Older, taller, hair messy from sleep, wearing pajamas with tiny stars, eyes wide and unblinking. Veronica's breath collapsed in her chest. Zara's lips parted but no sound came out. She looked like she was seeing a ghost, because she was. Veronica's voice came out broken. "Hey, baby." Zara didn't move. Didn't blink. Didn't breathe. Just stared. Veronica slowly knelt to eye level, even though her injuries screamed against it. "I'm here," she whispered. "I'm really here." Zara's chin trembled. Tears welled but didn't fall. Her tiny voice finally escaped, fragile as ash. "Amy." The word shattered Veronica. She nodded, tears running faster now. "Yes, it's me." Zara stepped forward like a deer testing a trap. She raised a trembling hand, touched her mother's cheek, skin warm, real. Her breath hitched. Then she launched into Veronica's arms with a sob that tore the world open. Veronica wrapped her arms around her daughter, like she was the only anchor left in reality. "I'm sorry," she whispered into Zara's hair. "Main wapas agay I came back. I'm so sorry." Zara clung to her tighter, like letting go would erase her all over again. Robinson turned away, hiding tears. Sarah pressed a hand against her mouth, overwhelmed. After minutes that felt like lifetimes, Zara finally pulled back enough to look her mother in the eyes. "You died," she whispered, voice shaking with fear. "The army came, they said you were gone." Veronica cupped her face gently. "They were wrong." Zara's brows pinched, confusion and pain twisting together. "Why didn't you come home sooner? Why did you stay gone?" Veronica's throat locked, honesty heavy like guilt. "I was hurt, badly. And then I had to do something important, to protect other soldiers, to protect you." Zara listened, not understanding all the details, but understanding pain. "You won't leave again." Her voice so small it nearly disappeared. Veronica swallowed the truth. The mission still hunted them. So she offered the only promise she had strength for. "I will always come back to you." Zara didn't look convinced, but she took her mother's hand and pulled her inside. Warmth embraced them, familiar smell of cinnamon air fresheners and laundry detergent, a half-eaten bowl of cereal on the kitchen counter. Cartoons paused on the TV. Life Veronica had missed and mourned. Zara's aunt Nadia rushed in from the back hallway, eyes red with midnight worry. Her scream caught in her throat as she saw Veronica, disbelief crashing into relief. "Ya Allah," Nadia whispered, "it's you." Veronica managed a weak smile. "Hi." Nadia slapped her shoulder, angry, then pulled her into a crushing hug. "You think you can walk into my house like you didn't rip our hearts apart?" Nadia's voice shook. "Shame on you, and thank God." Veronica let herself be held, letting the scolding be love in disguise. But the moment didn't last. Robinson stiffened, scanning windows. "Chase," she said quietly, "movement outside." Veronica's instincts switched sharp. warrior replacing mother in a blink. She looked at Zara. Go upstairs with your aunt, lock the door, don't open it for anyone but me. Zara didn't argue. She hugged Veronica once more before racing upstairs with Nadia. Sarah clutched her bag. Robinson chambered her rifle. Veronica walked to the window. Two black SUVs idled at the end of the street. Jeremy's curated army, stalking even daylight. Sarah gasped, "They found us already." Robinson whispered, "What do we do?" Veronica's gaze hardened like the edge of a blade. "We defend home." She opened a cabinet under the stairs, emergency fallback arsenal she'd hidden before deployment. Rifles, pistols, ammo, prepared not out of paranoia but love. She tossed Robinson a loaded sidearm, passed Sarah a Kevlar vest. Sarah's eyes widened. "I am not a soldier." "No," Veronica said firmly, "but you're still alive, so fight like you want to stay that way." Robinson peeked through the blinds. "They're spreading out." Veronica inhaled, calm despite fear crawling her spine. "Titans do numbers, we do heart." Sarah swallowed, then nodded. Outside, men fanned out to flank the house, weapons drawn. Veronica looked up the stairs, where Zara disappeared moments earlier. Her voice dropped to a reverent whisper. "No more running." She moved into position near the front door, every inch of her radiating a promise. If they wanted her, they'd pay for every step they took. Robinson steadied beside her. Sarah braced her hands, shaking but present. The knock came gentle, mocking. Jeremy's voice flowed through the quiet house like venom. "V, let's not do this in front of the kid." Veronica raised her rifle. "No more conversations." Silence. Then gunfire, glass shattering, wood splintering. And Veronica Chase, mother, soldier, ghost who refused to die, unleashed every ounce of fury she'd been forced to bury. This wasn't a mission anymore. This was family. And she would burn the world to protect it. How far will a mother go to ensure her child never hears gunshots again? Bullets tore through the living room windows like thunder shattering peace. Glass rained over the couch where Zara once cuddled with cartoons and Sunday mornings. Veronica dove behind the upturned dining table, rifle braced, eyes locked on the shadows outside. Her heartbeat wasn't fear, it was rhythm, focus. Her pulse had been trained for war. She called up the stairs sharply, "Stay down, stay quiet." Zara's faint sobbing echoed behind a locked bedroom door. Veronica forced herself not to look. Distraction killed faster than bullets. "Two on the left flank," Robinson shouted over gunfire. "They're pushing to the backyard." Veronica fired controlled bursts, driving attackers away from windows. No wild shots, no panic, Nightstalker discipline. Sarah huddled behind a thick oak column, breath frantic. But Veronica saw the spark. She wasn't shutting down. She wanted to survive. "Sarah, lights," Veronica commanded. Sarah shot the last intact bulb in the hallway. Darkness swallowed the house, Veronica's domain. "Good," Veronica murmured. "Now we're not the only ones blind." Outside, headlights cut across the yard, SUVs maneuvering. More boots, more guns. Titan had brought a small war to suburbia. Robinson slid into cover beside a bookshelf, reloading. "This is bad." "This is familiar," Veronica corrected. "Difference is, this time the ground is sacred." Sarah whispered fearfully, "Why won't Jeremy just leave? Why is he so obsessed?" "He doesn't want me," Veronica said coldly. "He wants control." Old betrayal burned again, but betrayal made fire. Fire made steel. A flashbang clattered through the shattered window. Veronica's instincts moved before thought. She kicked it into the kitchen, explosion erupting behind closed cabinet doors, light contained, shockwave softened. She smirked, "Try harder." 3 gunmen breached through the back patio door. Robinson cut down the first with 2 clean shots. Veronica snapped a silent round into the second's throat. The third tackled Robinson, slamming her into the fridge. They grappled, fists and elbows brutal in tight space. Robinson grunted, pinned. Veronica fired a single precise shot. The attacker dropped. Robinson gasped, panic in her eyes. "I thought you couldn't get the angle." Veronica gave a small, proud nod. "I don't miss when my people are on the line." Through another window, a familiar smirk in night vision goggles. "Jeremy." "Watching testing." He tapped his wrist twice, a signal, switched tactics. Veronica's stomach twisted. "They're going to breach everywhere at once," she warned. Robinson exhaled. "How many waves?" "As many as it takes," Veronica said. "He doesn't lose." Sarah's voice trembled. "Neither do you." Veronica didn't respond, but the fire in her eyes answered. The next push came harder. Explosions ripped open walls. Drywall dust turned air into suffocating fog. Titan troops stormed inside from 3 directions: living room, kitchen, side hall. Veronica shoved Sarah toward the stairwell. "Upstairs, go." Sarah bolted. Robinson laid suppressive fire until the air shimmered with muzzle flashes. Veronica dragged Robinson up the stairs as bullets chewed through the banister. On the landing, Veronica slammed the safety gate shut, reinforced bars she had installed long before she died. A mother's paranoia became providence. Titan soldiers pounded behind it, rattling metal, frustrated. Robinson clutched her bleeding arm. "We can't hold like this forever." "We don't need forever," Veronica said, lighting a flare and tossing it downstairs. Bright red smoke filled the lower floor, lasers and optics useless. She moved to the master bedroom, the largest field of fire. Robinson followed, wincing but ready. Sarah trembled in the corner with Zara's old baseball bat, the only weapon she understood. "Listen," Veronica said firmly. "Anyone comes through that door, swing like your life depends on it." Sarah nodded, terrified but present. Veronica placed her palm on the locked bedroom door upstairs, where Zara and Nadia hid behind silence. "Stay alive," she thought. "Let me carry the danger." The assault paused briefly, too brief. Jeremy's calm voice rose from below. "We're done playing." A thud. Metal tearing. Gate ripping free. Robinson swallowed. "He's coming." "No," Veronica whispered, raising her rifle. "He's here." The hallway burst open as Titan operatives surged upstairs, night vision slicing through smoke. Veronica shot the first 3 before they registered movement. Robinson took the flank, precision fueled by fear. But the numbers kept coming. Gunfire deafened, plaster exploded, floors splintered. Veronica spotted a flash of a laser aiming toward Zara's door. Heart turned to inferno. She dove, tackled the gunman, slammed him into the railing. They crashed through it together. They fell. Veronica landed hard on her side, pain ripping up her ribs. The attacker sprawled motionless. She rolled desperately, grabbing cover behind the couch. Upstairs, Robinson screamed her name. "Chase." "I'm good," Veronica yelled back, spitting blood. Jeremy appeared in the blown-out entryway, surveying destruction like an artist admiring his work. Helmet off, eyes bright with obsession. "You always did turn a home into a battlefield," he smiled. Veronica rose slowly, rifle leveled. "You always did turn love into a weapon." Jeremy pointed his pistol casually. "Marry a soldier, expect war, you know that." "You used love to blind me," Veronica growled. "I won't make that mistake again." Sarah peered from the stairs, terror freezing her. Jeremy noticed. "Ah, the whistleblower, you cost me quite a bit of quiet profit." Sarah shrank behind the railing. Veronica stepped between them. "Your fight is with me." "That's where you're wrong," Jeremy said, tone sweet as poison. "My fight is with your legacy." He flicked his wrist, His men surged forward. Veronica tossed a smoke grenade haul swallowed by hell-white clouds. She fired blindly, but with purpose. 2 down 3. Jeremy cursed and ducked behind a pillar, frustrated. Veronica used the chaos to sprint up the stairs, ignoring pain screaming with each step. Robinson grabbed her arm the moment she reached the landing. "Tell me you're okay." "No," Veronica breathed, "but I'm here." They barricaded the bedroom door with furniture, knowing it was only temporary. Below, footsteps regrouped, reload clicks, orders whispered. "They're going to breach again," Robinson said. "I know," Veronica whispered. Zara sobbed quietly behind the closet door. Nadia whispered prayers through trembling lips. Veronica knelt on the floor, suddenly struggling to breathe. "Veronica," Robinson said, gripping her shoulder, "don't lose yourself now." Veronica's voice cracked. "I survived death once, but losing her twice I can't." Robinson's tone softened, the calm in collapsing worlds. "Then don't let this be the day she loses you again." Veronica met her eyes. Something steady returned inside her, stitched back together by purpose. She stood, holding her rifle like a vow. Jeremy's boots creaked on wood outside the bedroom door. "Open it, V," he called. "Let's end this cleanly." Veronica positioned herself directly in front of the door, like a shield carved from grit. Her voice was a whisper, but it carried the weight of wars. "No one passes me." Jeremy chuckled, amused. "You're outnumbered, outgunned, outmatched." "You're out of morals," she snapped. "That's worse." A long beat of silence. Then Jeremy spoke softly. "Last chance, come with me, we disappear. Zara gets to live." Veronica's teeth clenched, tears blurring her vision, but her voice was pure steel. "Zara lives because you don't." The door exploded inward, wood splintering into lethal shards. Veronica and Robinson fired simultaneously, deafening battle ripping the home apart. Smoke screams, bodies falling. Through the chaos, Jeremy lunged at Veronica, using his men as shields. He slammed her into the wall, pistol drawn, pressed under her jaw. "You should have stayed dead," he roared. Veronica's hands clawed for anything, found a shard of wood, and shoved it into his side. Jeremy screamed, grip loosening. She flipped him onto the ground, adrenaline stealing agony's power. He crawled backward, stunned by her brutality. "You think you can beat me?" he spat, blood dripping into his teeth. Veronica stood over him, weapon raised, breathing like a predator, ready to deliver justice. "No," she said coldly. "I will." Robinson fired, bullet striking Jeremy's gun hand, knocking the weapon across the room. Jeremy howled, angry, wounded, finally vulnerable. "You'll regret this," he shouted. "The world is built by men like me." Veronica stepped forward, pressing her boot against his chest, pinning him to the floor. Her voice was a death sentence. "Not anymore." Sirens wailed in the distance, Whitfield's reinforcements racing toward the battlefield that used to be a home. Titan mercenaries hesitated, then retreated under their commander's orders, dragging injured men back through shattered walls. Jeremy looked up, hate and heartbreak twisted into something monstrous. "This isn't over," he said, voice dripping promise of future blood. Veronica leaned in close, voice like the end of hope. "You're right." She pistol-whipped him into silence. Titan vanished into the fatting night, leaving broken walls and echoes of war behind. Veronica dropped her weapon, hands shaking violently now that survival allowed emotion through. The bedroom closet opened. Zara ran to her mother, no fear now, just a terrified child clinging to the only world she trusted. Veronica sank to her knees, holding her daughter with every ounce of strength left inside. Robinson slid down next to them, exhausted beyond words. Sarah stood behind, crying and alive. Police and soldiers stormed the house, too late to matter. Veronica kissed Zara's forehead, breath shuddering with relief. "It's done," she whispered. But a deep part of her knew. It was, because truth unleashed is only the first battle. Justice is the war. What if survival wasn't the end, but the beginning of learning how to live again? The house smelled of dust and smoke and yesterday's terror. Doors hung crooked, walls shattered. Police tape fluttered in the cold morning breeze. Neighbors stood behind barricades, whispering like fear had a voice. Veronica sat on the tailgate of an ambulance, a blanket draped around her shoulders not for warmth, but for something to hold. Medics tried to examine her. She waved them off. Her eyes stayed pinned to the house, the battlefield that was supposed to be a home. Zara sat in her lap, head nestled against her chest, small, safe, breathing. Robinson leaned against a patrol car, arm bandaged, face bruised but alive. Sarah spoke to detectives, giving the testimony that would unravel a corporation's empire. Major Whitfield arrived in a convoy of black SUVs, emergency lights dancing off polished doors. He strode toward Veronica with a storm of emotions: relief, guilt, respect. He stopped a few steps away. "Chase," he murmured, "if I didn't see it with my own eyes, I'd still think you were dead." Veronica didn't stand, didn't salute, didn't pretend to be unbroken. "You almost let me stay buried," she whispered. Whitfield nodded, throat tight. "Sometimes we believe we're doing the right thing and realize too late we were." He handed her a sealed envelope, official insignia stamped in deep red. "What's this?" she asked. "An apology," he said. "From the United States Army, signed by the Secretary of Defense. You get your medals back, your record cleared, your rank restored." Veronica stared at it, a piece of paper that tried to rewrite pain. "I don't want rank," she said. Whitfield nodded again. "I know." He looked up at the broken house, the place where one woman held off a private army. "You're a Nightstalker," he said quietly, "even without the uniform." Zara lifted her head, eyes sleepy but curious. "Amy, does that mean you're a hero now?" Veronica's breath caught. She brushed a lock of hair from her daughter's face. "No," she said gently. "It means I made hard choices, and I'll keep making them." Zara seemed satisfied. Children understood truth better than adults sometimes. Police hauled evidence out of the house: guns, armor, explosives, proof of Jeremy's crimes, proof of Titan's existence. But Jeremy himself was gone. Vanished into the dark he created. Robinson walked over, shifting uncomfortably. "No sign of Jeremy, he's out there." Veronica looked toward the horizon, a soft gold sun rising behind rooftops. "I know," she said, "but he won't touch her again." Robinson studied Veronica's face, calm now, but not peaceful. "You're going to hunt him?" Robinson asked, quiet enough so Zara wouldn't hear. Veronica surprised her with a soft smile. "No, I'm going to live. That's the one thing he couldn't imagine." A car pulled up, unfamiliar but friendly. Nadia stepped out, eyes puffy from hours of fear and prayer. She wrapped both Veronica and Zara in a fierce embrace. "My sister," she whispered, "you found your way home." Veronica hugged her tighter. "I won't get lost again." They helped Zara into the car seat. She waved sleepy fingers at Sarah and Robinson, heroes in civilian clothes. Before the door closed, Zara asked one last question, small and profound. "Are we family now, all of us?" Veronica looked at Robinson, then Sarah, then Nadia. They had bled together, fought together, survived together. "Yes," Veronica said, "we always were, we just had to find each other." Zara smiled, the kind of smile that healed bruises and silenced echoes. The drive to Nadia's house was quiet. People stared, some in awe, some in fear, but Veronica didn't shrink away. Let them stare. They were looking at a woman who refused to die. Days passed, investigations launched, whispers turned into headlines. Illegal private mercenary program exposed. WHISTLEBLOWER. SURVIVES assassination attempt. Army veteran proves she never quit. Zara testified publicly, voice steady. Robinson returned to base to finish one last report, a truth the Army could no longer bury. Whitfield faced inquiries, not for corruption, but for blindness. And Veronica. She learned how to breathe again. One morning, Zara found her on the porch, staring at the early fog rolling across dewy grass. "Amy," Zara climbed into her lap. "Are you okay?" Veronica kissed her forehead. "Not yet, but I'm closer." Zara nodded like that answer made sense. Children didn't demand perfect endings. They just wanted honesty. Later, Veronica visited the gravesite where her own name was carved into cold stone. CAPT, Veronica Chase. 1990-2024. A warrior until the end. She stood over it, tears sliding silently. "I'm not done," she whispered to the stone. "I was never done." She placed her old dog tags on top, leaving the dead version of herself buried where she belonged. When she walked away, she felt lighter, not healed but healing. Jeremy remained a shadow in the world, angry, wounded, desperate, but his power was dismantled, his secrets exposed, his empire hunted by governments bigger than his greed. He would spend the rest of his life looking over his shoulder. Veronica would spend hers looking forward. Weeks later, Veronica took Zara to an airfield, a place where she once trained to fly through darkness. Now, she brought her daughter to see light. A helicopter whooshed overhead, Nightstalker model, rotors carving the sky. Zara looked up in awe. "Wow." Veronica smiled small, proud. "That was my sky. One day, if you want, it can be yours." "Are you going back?" Zara asked, worried but brave. Veronica shook her head. "I have a new mission." "What mission?" Veronica squeezed her daughter's hand. "To be here always." Zara nodded, satisfied. Sometimes victory wasn't a roar. Sometimes it was a whisper answered by a heartbeat. As they walked away from the field hand in hand, step in step, Veronica looked back one last time. She didn't miss the uniform. She missed who she used to be. But she was learning something new. Strength isn't the weight you carry. Strength is what you choose to put down. Veronica Chase, once resurrected by war, chose to be reborn by love. She didn't win every battle. She didn't silence every nightmare. But she stood, she lived, she returned. And for those who loved her, that was enough. Because sometimes dignity doesn't speak. It simply comes home,